Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Reverend Shorty. I'm going to talk about the brand new issue 1 Fantastic Four, which is brilliant because it's exactly what Marvel do. And I promise I'm going to try my best not spend the vast majority of this review criticising Marvel and how I'm going to do issue 1s. Not just because I'm mildly annoyed that they've cancelled Iron Man, that I've been really enjoying after, 10 issues? And Fantastic Four has very similar creative teams to what it currently had up until fairly recently with the ongoing, which I've been reading in trades and really enjoying. But then simply because of the One World Under Doom event, bringing in Humberto Ramos as an artist, which is a brilliant choice, by the way, he's fantastic. Just another excuse to do another issue 1. It honestly feels like we're heading into that, as if it hasn't been a problem for years. But I remember when I first started seriously collecting comic books, Image Comics would have dozen or more issue 1s every single month, all with the intent of this is the brand new thing, this is a huge leap, this is the thing that's going to be worth a fortune in the future, rather than by today where you will get some like miniseries, some might get picked up and carry on, some are just like fun little experimental ideas, but they very rarely try to keep that sense of excitement going, simply because it leads to speculation and the chance of boom and bust, which Image went through pretty badly the same way that Marvel did as a result of this, and I feel like Image have handled it slightly better. And even DC slightly better. Yes, they are redoing another issue 1 of Batman before too long, but stuff like Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn have been going for quite some time now with solid creative teams, and the numbers just keep going up and up. Nightwing, yes, Detective Comics has been renumbered, but they've kept that going for quite some time as well. And this one, when I first started reading it, I got a little bit annoyed with it because as somebody who works in a comic book store and gets asked quite a lot of like, what's a good point to jump onto comic books? Where's a good starting place? I think one of the reasons why issue 1s can seem like a good idea, rather than just it's another issue 1 for collectors to try and get hold of or speculators to try and get hold of, it looks like it is a good jumping on point for people who don't know much about the characters, and it should be. It really should be. This one started pretty cool. A couple of pages doing very basic 1-2 line intros to each of the characters, but all that kind of makes sense. It's Marvel's first family with the movie coming out, and honestly, the fact the movie's coming out just makes me think it's another reason why they've done literally 2 different Fantastic Four issue 1s this week alone. You kind of think, yeah, just cultural osmosis, Marvel's first family, everyone will know who they are, we don't need big intro to it. And then it jumps straight into One World Under Doom storylines. And I've not been reading One World Under Doom. Like I said, the Fantastic Four stuff, I've been reading as trades. So I'm a little bit behind in terms of the actual story that's going on at the moment. But it's like, oh, okay, so I guess now we're just getting into this, even though it's an event that's still ongoing. We've got an issue 1, which I don't know, is it taking place in it? After it? What's the connection? Have the Fantastic Four been involved in Doom, like, at all? Or what have I missed? And it just made me start second-guessing whether or not this actually would be a good intro for people who want to start reading a comic book. And that is not a great way to frame things when you're only a handful of pages into it. Thankfully, there's some pretty damn good writing in the sequence. The action is done really effectively. We do see Humberto Ramos doing stuff which I don't particularly go to him for. I prefer his, like, tight character focus kind of stuff. He's very good at, like, people having long in-depth conversations in diners. He's got great detailing for that kind of thing. Big action stuff he can do, but it's not what I go to him for. This one, fairly early on, he shows his chops, and there's some fantastic motion moments in here. Getting to see Human Torch flying around was fantastic. The Invisible Woman with the mech warrior invisible construct she's made, brilliant. It all looks really, really cool. We get a kind of nice, almost a little on the nose dig at the American political situation at the moment, but handled very, very well in the kind of deft hand that Ryan North can do when it comes to his humour. But then we get the actual crux of the matter for Fantastic Four, which is they all get scattered through time, each one to their own individual time period, which seems to have its own challenges specifically for them, and it becomes this race of like, okay, how are they going to, get back to where they need to be? And at that point, I'm like, right, okay, this is good because it's not tied in with anything that's gone on before. It is literally just, let's go for it, let's see what's going to happen to these characters. They're in fantastic places where we get to experience their powers and their relationships out of context because they don't really have each other there. And I was like, right, okay, I see what it's doing now, this is good. And it does work, and it's proved that a couple of times when I've read comic books, I get too hung up on the idea of, like, do I need to know everything that's happened before? Because if this comic book would have just started with them all due to an event going back in time, and then multiple issues later we find out how it's done it, I think that might have worked better for just a jump on point rather than trying to do the Marvel thing of tying it into events, tying it into a shared universe, and making it seem like it's part of a bigger narrative that you need to be involved in, so you'll go and spend money on buying the other things. And I've criticised sometimes when I've not jumped on board with that storytelling, but this is a great example of how I've been wrong repeatedly, and I'm happy to admit that. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!